Hey guys, happy Friday. Welcome to Functional Groups number 2. So, yesterday we gave you a long, annoying list of all the different types of functional groups you're likely to run across. We had anything from halides to aldehydes to alcohols. I gave you some examples, but we didn't really ground it in reality. What are these things? That's what I want to focus on today. So, let's look at the first couple things. Number one, I want to look at our halides. So our halides are also called alkyl halides. If you can remember way back from, I believe, day 1 of organic chemistry, what did alkyl mean? Alkyl meant an alkane. In other words, a halide, which means single bond. So an alkane with a single bond that has a halogen glued on it. We said the halogens we're focusing on are chlorine, iodine, bromine, and fluorine. So what are these used for? We find these in refrigerants, right? Things that make things colder, usually the chlorine and the fluorine, and we find them in fireproofing. We'll find more of the bromine and fluorine there. So we use these halides for those things. Let me give you an example. Here is a friend we have here. So we have a carbon in the middle with a hydrogen, right? So this is an alkane. This is an alkyl halide. And then the other bonds are all halides. It's all chlorine, chlorine, chlorine. So in other words, the example I gave you last time only had one. You can have as many as you want. So this is actually the chemical formula for chloroform, which would make you pass out if you breathed it in. It's used as an anesthetic in the hospital. The technical term is trichloromethane. Why? Trichloro, can you guess why that is? Because you have 3 chlorines, and then methane because you have 1 hydrogen, ane because this is an alkane. Bam. Here's another example of a halide you'll see in the world. This guy. We've got 2 C's, 2 carbons double bonded to each other, and then each carbon has some chlorines hanging out. So this guy is actually, if you've ever gotten your clothes dry cleaned, um, this is actually the chemical compound that's used largely to do that. And it's called tetrachloroethylene. What a name. Why is it called tetrachloroethylene? Tetra means 4. So there are 4 chlorines, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ethyl, because ethyl means we have 2 carbons, right? Ene, why is it not ane and it's ene? Because we have a double bond in there. Ene is double bond. Hooray! That's halides for you, dude. Let's look at the next one. Ethers. Ethers are used as a couple things. The most important one is it's used as starter fluid in engines, especially car engines. But a cool one I found is, have you guys ever heard of freeze spray? It's like if you had something like a mole or a pimple on your face that you wanted to get rid of, and you went to the dermatologist, they would use a freeze spray that would sort of freeze that patch of skin, and they could actually take it off, which is really gross now that I'm thinking about it. But that's an ether, and it's called dimethyl ether, and it's organized like this. You got an oxygen in the middle, 2 carbons on each side, or 1 carbon on each side, and then a spray of hydrogens connected to each carbon. Now, why is it called dimethyl ether? Dimethyl, so there should be 2 methyl groups. What's a methyl group? A single carbon. Are there 2 single carbons? Yep. Ether, because that oxygen, let me get my highlighter. In fact, real quick, look back up at these. Let's highlight. What makes these halides? It's those guys. What makes this a halide? These guys. What makes this an ether? This guy. That oxygen. Squished between carbons. Dimethyl, because there's 2 carbons. Ether, because there's an oxygen. And that's that. Pause if you need to finish drawing. Now, what is another thing we are going to be talking about? Alcohols. This could not possibly go wrong, right? So what is an alcohol used in? Drinks, right? Engine fuel and varnish. If you don't know what varnish is, Google it. It's not that important to your life, but you find this usually in drinks and engine fuel. Something tells me you shouldn't put what's you shouldn't put in your body what you've also put in your car engine, but that's just my opinion. Uh, so what makes this an alcohol? This guy, this hydroxide, he makes it an alcohol. So this in particular is used in drinks and fuel. This same chemical is used in drinks and fuel. It's called ethanol. You've definitely seen that at the gas station. It's a type of grain alcohol or a grain fuel. Um, so why is it called ethanol? Eth, ETH means two carbons, right? Do we have two carbons? Yes, we do. Ethanol. Why do we have OL? Because there's an alcohol attached. There you go. Let's look at another alcohol. This guy is not really in drinks unless you like drinking gasoline, but there's a gas additive that makes fuel more efficient, and it's called propan-2-ol. It's also used as rubbing alcohol, funnily enough. You got those three carbons with an hydroxide sticking off the top. Propan-2-ol. Why is it called that? Propan. What does propan mean? Prop means three carbons. Check. Two. Why would it be called two? Because if this was carbon number one, this was carbon number two, and this was carbon number three, my hydroxide is sticking off the carbon number two. All because it's an alcohol. There you go. So next time you get a cut on your knee or something and you need some alcohol for it, say, "Hey mom, can I get the propan-2-ol?" And she'll be like, "What?" You'll be like, "My chemistry teacher told me to say that." And she won't think it's funny, but I'll think it's funny. So that's those are the three we're going over today. Alcohols, ethers, and halides. So my goal is for you to be able to, by the end of this section, to be able to look at a molecule and know what it is. Is it an ether? Is it a halide? Is it an alcohol? Is it an aldehyde? What is it? Um, and then we're going to eventually work toward naming it and saying what it is. But for now, on Google Classroom, I've got an assignment that will start us down that path. So I hope this is more interesting to you guys. Organic chemistry is cool to me because it's so practical. Organic chemistry, you learn about stuff that you use every day. But happy Friday. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and we will pick up where we left off on Monday. Bye.